Ventures, you may enter the field for competition.
In 1982, the Corps continued to rebuild. They placed second once again in the all-girl division at the DCI Championships in Montreal, Quebec. 1982 was also memorable for being the year that the Ventures Baton Corps was formed. The Baton Corps would later develop into a Winter Guard program that would carry the Ventures' legacy into the present day. The 1983 production was another entertaining collection of popular tunes. The repertoire included From Mighty Oaks, Don't You Worry About a Thing, and other selections from the musical The Wiz. The Corps also became a member of Drum Corps East and began touring extensively in the northeastern United States. Girls from Hamilton area also started joining the Corps this year. The championships were held in Miami, Florida, where the Corps would often rehearse in the evening to avoid the punishing heat of the day. They returned home to win the all-girl championships of the Canadian nation. The Corps made some significant innovative moves in 1984. The entire percussion section was placed in the pit area, a very controversial move that is still talked about to this day. Each percussionist was a solo performer, essentially becoming an orchestral percussionist. It took most of the season to persuade the judges to reward the Corps for their innovation, but once they did, there was no going back. 1984 also introduced the Ventures' now famous poncho changes, where the Corps changed their entire look to suit the mood of each piece of music. The Corps participated in the DCI Championships in Atlanta, Georgia, finishing 6th in Division II. The next few seasons were a fast and furious rise for the Corps. The 1985 season featured a brilliant program of music and choreography that captured the hearts of many. After placing 5th at the U.S. Open in Marion, Ohio, the Corps ventured toward Madison, Wisconsin for the DCI Championships. The Corps was housed in the small town of Evansville, Wisconsin, who served as our host for the week. After a few days of rehearsal, the Corps went on to capture first place in the preliminary competition in addition to winning the finals competition. The Corps had jumped 5 places in 4 days to win the 1985 DCI World Championship. It should also be noted that the average age of the Corps was just 14 years old, and they were defeating much larger and older co-ed groups. The 1986 program was a more sophisticated approach to symphonic concert band material, with Spring Lake Overture as the signature opening piece. The brass section was starting to develop a more mature sound, and the pit provided the perfect accompaniment. The Corps finished second in championships, but for the first time in their history, the Ventures advanced to finish 23rd in the elite DCI Top 25. They were the first all-girl Corps to ever achieve this status. The Corps continued their success in 1987. At the DCI World Championships in Madison, Wisconsin, the Ventures won their 3rd Class A championship, as well as placing 25th in the elite DCI Open class. 1987 also marked the beginning of a long and rewarding relationship with the Suminora Girls Drum and Bugle Corps from Kobe, Japan. The two corps formed an exchange program and sister corps agreement, and during the next few years, several Japanese members traveled to Canada and marched their summer season as Ventures. Each spring, 3 Venture members attended the spring camp of the Suminora Corps. Suminora director Tomio Yamamoto later changed the name of his corps to Ventures Japan to honor their Canadian counterpart. The 1988 season revealed a fresh, feminine new look for the Ventures. and a continuance of the crowd-pleasing Broadway-style tunes that made the Ventures an audience favorite. Selections from Sweet Charity, including Big Spender, and If My Friends Could See Me Now. The Corps battled the weather all summer. If it wasn't blisteringly hot, it was pouring rain and humid. Kansas City was the home of the DCI championships that year, and the Corps won the preliminary competition, but lost in the finals by one heartbreaking tenth of a point. The Ventures placed 24th in open class competition once again, retaining their membership in the elite top 25. 1989, the Corps continued its incredible rise in competition. The Ventures hit the field with a program concept called Broadway Ladies, playing popular selections from musicals West Side Story, Damn Yankees, and Funny Lady. The Ventures returned to Kansas City to reclaim their top spot, and with the help of some dancing dolls, laid down a beautiful performance that earned them their fourth DCI Class A championship and 22nd place in DCI Open Class. The 1990 season was a pinnacle year for the Corps. It began with a mini corps of 35 girls invited to perform at Expo 90 in Osaka, Japan, along with their sister corps, the Sumanora Girls. The girls enjoyed the warm hospitality of Japanese families and immersed themselves in Japanese culture. The performances at the World's Fair were wonderful. The 1990 show, entitled My Fair Ladies, catapulted the Corps to its most successful season to date. Their exceptional performance at the Drum Corps International World Championships in Buffalo, New York, featuring twice as many dancing dolls, led the Corps to its fifth DCI Class A title and a remarkable 20th place finish in DCI's prestigious Top 25. In 1991, the Corps pursued a challenging musical and visual program entitled Sweet Earth. The show contained more classical and symphonic music, and the members committed to the environmental message, which in retrospect is even more relevant today than it was at the time. The production was a departure from the show's audiences typically expected from the Corps, and while it wasn't as successful competitively, it showed the talent and capabilities of the amazing and dedicated membership and staff. 1992, like a decade before, was a rebuilding year for the Ventures. The much smaller and younger Corps returned to their Broadway roots and played selections from My Fair Lady and Company. They placed 10th in Division II at the DCI Championships in Madison, Wisconsin, and for the first time in more than a decade, the Corps failed to make finals. 1993, with a devoted membership and staff, the Corps moved to Division III. The program featured selections from the Broadway musical Mame. This proved to be the right move, as sheer determination and hard work from the entire organization propelled the Corps to capture a silver medal at the DCI Championships in Jackson, Mississippi.